Khamzat Chimaev is your new UFC undisputed middleweight champion after a dominant victory over Dricus Du Plessis in the main event of UFC 319. And he actually fought two people tonight because not only did he take on Dricus Du Plessis and absolutely dominated him, Marc Goddard tried to bail Dricus Du Plessis out twice. He needs to be investigated immediately, but we'll get to that. I hate to say I told you so, guys. I really hate to say I told you so. I really do. Khamzat Chimaev will run through Dricus Du Plessis. Who could have ever said that? This was one of the most dominant title challenger performances I have seen in the history of the sport. The only one I can think of, I've been watching the sport since 2010. The only one I can think of is Renan Barão, TJ Dillashaw 1. Khamzat Chimaev dog walk Dricus Du Plessis. And I know there's going to be cope. I know there's going to be excuses. I know there's going to be the people who hate the Caucasus region fighters, who hate the Muslims. Man, this was so boring, man. This was so boring. We'll get to that as well, okay? Let's go through it round by round real quick, okay? Because in the first 5 seconds, Khamzat Chimaev shot a takedown, got an easy takedown. But you know what the fan base was saying. Man, Khamzat might get him early, but if Dricus can weather that early storm, man, Dricus late, brother. By the way, all 3 judges scored this fight 50-44. It could have been 50-40. In my opinion, it probably should have been 50-41. One round should have been 10-9. The other 4 should have been 10-8. That's how dominant this performance was. Round 1, absolute domination, control, took him down in the first 5 seconds. Round 2, more of the same. Round 3, more of the same. Round 4, more of the same. Round 5, more of the same. Round 5, we're going to get into, okay? Because in round 5, we seen some of the worst reffing from Marc Goddard I have ever seen. He needs to be investigated, okay? But for real, if you go through it round by round, round 1, easy takedown, got to the crucifix, did a little bit of damage, eventually went for an arm triangle. Dricus tried to scramble out, go for a guillotine, end up on bottom as Khamzat, I think, was trying to take his back. There was a scramble towards the end, but Chimaev ended up on top. Round 2, Chimaev shoots an early takedown, gets to the body lock, just ragdolls him up, down, up, down. And Dricus Du Plessis had nothing to offer, man. He would just get on his knees, give up his butt, and that's it. He wasn't trying to scramble, wasn't really trying to escape, really offered nothing. Round 3, easy takedown again, early takedown again, crucifix again. There was crucifixes in, I think, 3 out of the 5 rounds, and he got to it easily. I mean, he got to it in like the first 30 seconds in the first round. But round 3, Dricus was hiding his head very well in the crucifix position. Round 3, Chimaev was finally able to start framing off and slamming some elbows down, bloodying up Dricus. Round 3 was the easiest 10-8 I've ever seen. I mean, round 1 and 2 could have been 10-8s as well. But in round 3 is when Chimaev really started to get off some damage. Round 4, more of the same. But in round 4, essentially the entire fight, when Dricus was getting dominated, if he wasn't in the crucifix, he was on his knees, kind of in like a doggy-style position, just being super defensive. And Chimaev would throw a couple shots, and then DDP would try to block him, and then Chimaev would try to get the hooks in, but DDP would just block him because he just stayed in the same position the entire time. In round 4, Khamzat has DDP's back, and Marc Goddard says, you know what, I'm going to break him. I'm going to stand him up, I'm going to break him, which was egregious. And then DDP got taken down again. Round 4 should have been a 10-8 again, okay, another 10-8. Round 5 is where it got a bit interesting because Khamzat didn't shoot a takedown early. First 30 seconds was striking. Nothing really landed. DDP tried some crazy shots. Didn't really get close. I think Khamzat landed like 1 jab. Then Khamzat gets an easy takedown. Gets to the crucifix again. Starts landing some shots. Eventually, Dricus is able to kind of scramble out of that. Get to his knees again. Which is crazy. I mean, all he's doing is getting to his knees. And eventually, he ends up getting up, I think, in the 5th round. I'm trying to remember exactly how it went down. So he gets to his knees. He eventually scrambles, ends up on top for a second off a takedown. He stands up. Yeah, he stands up and like turns into Chimaev. And Chimaev didn't have the body lock locked down because he was throwing some ground and pound. He ends up on top in full guard. Then Chimaev tries to like go into him and get another takedown and kind of reverse the position. And DDP pulls a guillotine and ends up on bottom again in full guard. Chimaev's throwing good shots. They're not crazy. They're not the most damaging shots I've ever seen. It's not coming close to a finish here. And with 1 minute and 25 seconds left on the clock, Goddard says, what am I going to do, man? We can't watch Dricus lose like this. I got to step in. I got to save him from Chimaev. I got to save him from Chimaev. and Goddard steps in with 1 minute and 25 seconds left on the clock and stands him back up. Dricus Du Plessis eats a couple leg kicks. Then he throws like a real sloppy combination and lands a right hand on Chimaev. Then Chimaev shoots another takedown. Chimaev landed a jab in that. Chimaev shoots another takedown. Obviously, Chimaev's a little bit tired here. DDP sprawls that takedown. And then there's a scramble, and DDP ends up on top in full mount. Throws like 1 or 2 shots that don't really land. At one point in the sprawl also, he was throwing elbows to the side of the head. Throws a couple shots that don't really land as Chimaev's giving up his back. Then DDP goes for a neck crank that was never close. And then like right as the round is ending, was never close to a submission, Chimaev shakes him off and ends up in full guard to end the fight. Another 10-8 round could have been, but I would say round 5 because DDP had those couple scrambles where he ended up on top for 5 or 10 seconds. I would say round 5 would be the only 10-9 round of the entire fight. But man, we're going to talk about Goddard in a second, okay? We're going to save him for his own section here. This was a complete and utter domination. I mean, this was one of the most dominant performances I have ever seen in championship history for a contender to come in and dominate a champion, an undefeated, at least an undefeated in the UFC, defending champion. This had to be a shock. This had to be a shock for a lot of people. And man, it blew up a lot of narratives, man. DDP by falling piano. DDP by banana peel. DDP by whatever he wants. Man, DDP late. My favorite is, it's going to be Khamzat early or DDP late, man. We all know Khamzat doesn't have cardio, bro. I told you. I've been saying for years, Khamzat has already proven he has 5-round cardio. He proved it even more in this fight. I mean, this was a complete and utter shutout. And he's fighting Mark Goddard, too, in the 4th and 5th round. Get Mark Goddard out of the sport. And I know there's going to be a lot of people. The Dagestani haters, the Muslim haters, they're going to be, man, Chimaev's so boring, man. All he did was knee to the thigh, man. All he did. What did DDP do? If you hated this fight, you found this fight extremely boring, blame DDP for literally just trying to survive the entire fight. That's all he did. He was clamping down from top position, begging the ref to stand them up. He had nothing to offer. He had no... I don't know how people watched DDP getting ragdolled by the dead body of Derek Brunson, getting ragdolled by Robert Whittaker in the 1st round. Got a takedown there. And somehow thought, yeah, man, DDP is going to be able to grapple with Khamzat Chimaev, arguably the best grappler the UFC has ever seen. But there's going to be people, there's going to be detractors that are going to say this fight's boring. So be it, whatever. If you didn't enjoy it, if it's not your cup of tea, fair enough. You cannot ignore the dominance of what Khamzat Chimaev did tonight. DDP had defended his belt twice. DDP was undefeated in the UFC. DDP was picked by the majority of people. I don't care what the odds makers say. I knew people are going to rewrite the history afterwards. They're going to say, man, everyone expected Khamzat to win. Odds makers, look at the odds makers. Khamzat Chimaev in the MMA community was an underdog here tonight. And one thing Khamzat showed, but he already showed it in the past, but people didn't realize it. Now, it's a true, undeniable 100% reality. Khamzat showed 5-round cardio. There's no doubt about it. He went 5 rounds. He won the 5th round. He dominated the 5th round too. I don't care. If, oh man, DDP went for a neck crank for 1 second. By the way, somewhere in there, Khamzat went for a Kimura as well. Man, DDP really put on a pathetic performance. I got to be honest. It was pathetic, man. Just going out there and trying to survive. You're a champion, and you're just going to try to survive and put on that level of pathetic performance. It was embarrassing for DDP. It really was. But I really think tonight was a very pivotal night for the UFC. I believe Khamzat Chimaev is the face of the UFC. I believe Khamzat Chimaev is a mega star in the UFC. It probably wasn't the performance Dana and the UFC was hoping for. They would have liked the crazy highlight, the quick finish, or Chimaev to choke him out, out cold in this crazy highlight. He wasn't able to do that because DDP played it safe the entire fight and basically avoided the fight and refused to try to scramble and just sat on his knees, giving up his butt the entirety of the fight. But Khamzat went out there and proved that he's damn near unbeatable in the middleweight division. You tell me who's beating him. And I'll tell you this, all the cardio narratives that are now put to bed, I will say this, Chimaev knew how tough DDP would be to finish. And credit to DDP for surviving, because that's all he did. On his knees, hands and knees, the entire fight, surviving. But Chimaev definitely paced himself early, not to gas himself out. And he showed that he had very clear 5-round cardio, okay? Went hard in the 5th round. Had some moments where he was in bad positions, immediately scrambled out of those bad positions. So he showed tonight the amazing cardio that I already knew existed, but he's leveled it up, in my opinion. And I'm looking at the middleweight division, and I'm really trying to think who beats him. You think Nasruddin Imavov beats him? I don't think so. You think Caio Barajo beats him? I don't think so. Sean Strickland saying, yeah, I'm the only guy that can wrestle this 5 rounds. Absolutely not. I think Chimaev runs through Sean Strickland just like he ran through Dricus Du Plessis, but worse. I think he finishes Sean Strickland in the 1st round. I told you guys going in this fight, I felt like I was screaming into the void. People are like, Joey, you're crazy. I'm like, I've believed in Chimaev since 2020. I knew the level of fighter he was, and regardless of all the made-up narratives, he's only fighting welterweights. The Robert Whittaker fight's a fluke. Every time there's an excuse. Every damn time there's an excuse. I knew that he would dominate DDP. I said it multiple times. I didn't say, oh, Khamzat's going to finish him early, and if he doesn't finish him early, it's going to be a tough night. No, I said if it goes 5 rounds, I am more than confident Khamzat will win this fight. That's what I said. Go back if you don't believe me. Go watch the video I made on Friday. By the way, we'll take a look at that and some comments in a little bit. We'll add a little surprise in here. But man, DDP really had nothing to offer. He had some moments in the 5th round. Even when he ended up on the back looking for the neck crank, he could have tried to throw some damaging shots, but he was exhausted. He was trying to explode up, and I told you guys that. I said DDP will be more tired in the later rounds. And he was. He never quit. No doubt he tried to slop his way with a banana peel to a victory. He tried to find that falling piano everyone was talking about. He couldn't find it. It wasn't there to be had against an elite-level guy like Khamzat Chimaev. But people will discredit this win. People will call it boring. People say, man, these Dagestani nut huggers. What did Du Plessis do? Please tell me what Du Plessis did, but avoid the fight, the entire fight. He curled up into a ball. He looked like he trained with Anthony Smith. He curled up into a ball and quit for 5 rounds. Maybe that's a little bit harsh because he did try a little bit in the 5th round. But he never tried to scramble. He never tried to Granby roll. He never tried to reverse the position, really. Never. He just sat there in a ball. His coach, Morn Visser, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right. I told you guys before the fight. He will be a one-hit wonder. He will be the next Edmund Tarverdian. He will be the next John Kavanaugh. He will not have another pupil other than DDP, and DDP's never touching that belt again. Unless Chimaev retires soon or moves up a weight class soon. I don't see it happening at all. What an incredible performance. Khamzat Chimaev's a massive star in the UFC, regardless of how many people want to downplay this win and say, man, that was boring. And by the way, I know not many people want to go there, but I'll fucking take it there because I hate the illogical narratives we see. I find it really funny. These same people crying, Khamzat is boring. Khamzat is a nut hugger. Khamzat's not fun to watch because of one fight. He's 15-0. He's gone to 3 decisions in his entire career. These same people crying that Khamzat Chimaev is boring are the same people who worship Sean Strickland, who jabs and teeps and doesn't even show up to fight when he gets an undeserved title shot. These are the same people that worship Colby Covington, who shows up to an undeserved title shot and shits his britches and refuses to fight the entire time. These are the same people that were stroking their meat to Bryce Mitchell beating Saeed Nurmagomedov. What could that possibly be? Oh, okay. Oh, Khamzat's Muslim. Khamzat's from the Caucasus region. I don't care what anyone says. That is a fact. And the fact that people are like, where is he from? What's his religion? Okay, now this is the narrative that I'm going to say about this fight. You tell me, if DDP did this same performance, let's say this was the exact same fight, but DDP was Chimaev, DDP 50-44 Chimaev, exactly like this. The level of glaze would last him into retirement. 10 years from now, we would still be hearing about DDP ragdolling Chimaev and beating Chimaev 50-44. You would never hear the end of it. But somehow, Chimaev, who when he goes out there and finishes people early like Robert Whittaker, they say, oh, it was a fluke, man. It was a fluke. His teeth were already injured. When he goes out there and goes to war with Gilbert Burns, like, oh, man, he's going to war with Gilbert Burns? When he takes Kamaru Usman on short notice and 10-8s him in the first round and still wins the fight after hurting his wrist or hand in the first round. Like, oh man, he almost lost to Kamaru. Now he dominates Dricus Du Plessis. He goes 5 rounds, regardless of all the people say, man, if it goes late, man, if Dricus just weathers the early storm, he's got it in the bag, brother. These same people worship Bryce, Sean, and Colby. It's just crazy to me. It's just crazy. There will always be a way to discredit him. He could have ran through Dricus. He could have crucifixed him in 30 seconds like he did. He could have TKO'd him right there, and they would be like, oh, man, Dricus must have been injured, man. Dricus must have not kissed his coach on the lips enough going up to this fight. You had his coach say, man, we won the stare down, man. I knew they lost right then and there. I knew they lost right then and there. Dude said, we dominated Chimaev in the stare down. What kind of beta soy are you saying we dominated him in the stare down? Dricus will never touch that belt again unless Khamzat retires or moves to another weight class. I promise you that. Morn Visser will be a one-hit wonder. I promise you that. There will be nobody else. DDP tricked a lot of people into thinking he was good, okay? Because he really got exposed in this fight. I understand that DDP was super effective, and he does deserve credit. There's no doubt about that. He's an amazing fighter to watch fight, even though he's sloppy as hell, okay? Destroyed Robert Whittaker really with physicality, okay? Then 2 shit performances against Sean Strickland really had him believe in his own hype, and a lot of people believe in his hype. I know he had the performance against Israel Adesanya. I thought he was getting waxed in that fight. And then Adesanya slowed down because he was overly aggressive in that fight. I'm not trying to make an excuse for Adesanya, but I'm just saying the way the fight played out, Adesanya was whooping him in that fight. I don't care what the scorecards say. Okay, the scorecards are 50-44 or 3 ways in this fight. They should have been 50-41. But I really think you look back at Dricus' career, and he really did just show his heart and will to get to where he was at. I don't understand how anyone could watch Dricus get ragdolled by the dead body of Derek Brunson and still think he was going to beat Chimaev, who's 10-8ing Kamaru Usman, who has elite level wrestling, super strong and in shape, and he took it on short notice. Khamzat did. Kamaru did as well. But going from Costa to Usman, it's crazy, man. Khamzat's never going to get enough credit. This was one of the best performances I've ever seen, and to try to diminish it and call it boring, I just think is frankly unfair. And if you want to complain about this performance wasn't up to what you were expecting, blame DDP. Blame DDP. What am I going to blame? The guy that's ragged on him or the guy that sits on his knees, perking his ass up, taking back shots dead over and over and over again, getting crucifixed and having nothing to offer, having to get bailed out by the referee twice and still not doing shit on the feet. Landed 1 right hand the entire fight. I don't even want to know what the stats look like for this fight. But I'll tell you this before we get into some comments. Mark Goddard needs to be investigated. I've never been so sure that someone was willingly trying to impact an outcome of a fight than Mark Goddard here tonight. I'm not kidding. I'm not being salacious. I'm not being over dramatic. What he did tonight was a complete and utter embarrassment. Chimaev has his back in the fourth round, okay? Dricus is on his knees begging for a stand-up. But he's given up his back to one of the best wrestlers, grapplers, BJJ guys in the UFC. And Goddard's like, you know what? I've seen enough 10-8s, man. Let me get him back on the feet where Dricus might have a chance. Then in the 5th round, with 1 minute and 25 seconds left, Khamzat cemented the position. The fight is over. Dricus is not getting out of the position. Mark Goddard stands on. Khamzat couldn't even believe it. I think he thought the fight was over for a second. Imagine had he affected the outcome. I don't think he would have been able to, but imagine had he affected the outcome. He wanted to. That's what he was trying to. He needs to be investigated. He needs to never ref another fight again. Fuck Mark Goddard. He's a piece of shit. He tried to impact the outcome of the fight. When I'm agreeing with Joe Rogan, we have an issue. Because Joe Rogan was like, what? What? He has his back. How are you going to stand him up? I mean, this performance from Goddard almost deserves its own video. Maybe I'll make it. I don't know. I got a lot of work ahead of me. But let's end on this, okay? We're going to look at some comments from a recent video I had. Let's check out this video, boys. Let's check. Oh, look at the title of this. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Khamzat Chimaev will run through Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319. Let me give that a little like on my end. Let me give that a like on my... What a performance, man. To dog walk Du Plessis like that, okay, was really impressive. I mean, the fact that Du Plessis hasn't lost in years, He's undefeated in the UFC. He's defended his belt twice. So be it against a beta male soy boy, Sean Strickland, a little bitch boy, who said that Dricus was going to break Khamzat tonight. But so be it, he ran through Dricus Du Plessis. Ran through him like it was nothing, and Dricus had nothing to offer. Let's check out some comments from this video. Never saw someone so underestimating Dricus. DDP is the great white hope. That's why he's being picked. Probably. Yep, thank you. Finally, someone picking Chimaev. You can basically delete your channel if DDP wins on Saturday. All this nut munching and glazing. You can't see the rest of it. I'll be back when DDP destroys Khamzat. Man. Boys, I think I need a little bit of need a little bit of Chimaev haters here. Tears real quick. Man, these Chimaev's haters tears are so delicious, man. Man, I needed that. Whew. Let's read a couple more. Nah, Joey, this video is disappointing. You're biased, Ash. I don't even know what his last word means. I guess bias as shit. I don't know. I don't know what we're getting at. Let's see. Khamzat sat in the pocket with Burns and heavily grappled with Usman. Went into both of their strong places and came out on top. Facts. Thanks for telling me to pick DDP, Joey. Damn. Thanks for telling me to pick DDP. Joey just ran through the buffet table at the Kentucky State Fair. See you at the top. I ran through your mother. Damn, I know these dudes are salty. Man, I like Joey, but this take is wild. Completely counting out DDP. I got DDP. The fact that Khamzat weighed in at 183 is somewhat alarming. It makes me think Dricus will have a size and strength advantage. DDP fight IQ is insane. Dricus by knockout. Didn't watch the video yet, but that's one of the boldest take you ever went with. Right or wrong, I like you, Joey, so props to you for being going with your gut despite the hate. Shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, there you go. We don't need to really read through anything else. I mean, that's great. Let me actually put a little quick picture up on the screen that I have saved here. This was the entirety of the fight if you didn't watch it. This was the entirety of the fight. Khamzat looking for the rear naked choke. In this position, he's not on both knees. Typically, DDP was on both knees. By the way, something nobody else will mention. DDP brutally fence grabbed multiple times to try to get out of bad positions. Brutally fence grabbed like 3 or 4 times. With his toes, with his hands. There was multiple times DDP cheated in this fight to try to scramble out and still had no success. Had absolutely no success against Khamzat Chimaev, the new UFC middleweight king. What a performance. I don't think he's going to get enough credit because you're going to have the Sean Strickland, Bryce Mitchell, Colby Covington fan club be like, man, he's boring, man. Khamzat's boring. I don't want to watch him, but I love Bryce Mitchell. I love Sean Strickland. I love Colby Covington, who, by the way, ran for me and Machado Gary. But yeah, man, Khamzat, the best wrestler in the UFC. Khamzat, the best BJJ in the UFC. Khamzat, one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the UFC. And by the way, he wants to turn around and fight in October in Abu Dhabi. Would love to see it, whether it be against Imavov, Baralho, Rainier de Ritter, would be incredible. Dean Thomas's nightmare has become a reality. Okay, so we can go cry about it. I'm sure, you know, all the pundits are crying about it. It's almost worth its own video, man. The compilations I see of people saying, man, DDP late, man. This was some of the worst analysis I had ever seen in my entire life. Every single person was regurgitating, man, if Khamzat doesn't get him out of there early, DDP's going to get him late. DDP got brutally exposed tonight because Khamzat is literally better than him everywhere. I think I would pick Khamzat to beat Dricus in a kickboxing match. Complete and utter domination, wrecked DDP. Was it the crazy finish? No, it wasn't. But DDP just sat on his knees, giving up his butt the entire fight. I told you guys this would happen. I need to take a victory lap. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for all your support. I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate it.